A mate of mine told me about one of his favourite rides. It goes from Braidwood down to Cooma via the Dividing Range, and it takes 2 days, a day out, stay the night, and a day back. So I got a few friends together and we planned to do this ride. The only fly in the ointment is 2 days before the ride, Braidwood had 60 to 90 millimeters of rain and severe wind warnings. What could possibly go wrong?
Give it, give it, give it, give it, give it, give it. Oh, yeah!
So I nicknamed this ride BraiDOOMa. So for the first part of the ride, we head north out of Braidwood, and I'd been warned by my mate about this particularly snotty hill, which he said was a bit tough to get up, but probably the hardest part of the whole 2-day ride. I quickly got the feeling that this is going to be a long day. And it didn't take long before we hit our first downed tree. Little did we know this was going to be the first of many. One by one, we manhandled the 6 bikes over the fallen log. So we finally got all of the bikes over the fallen tree. Some of the bikes got over easier than others. Although we had been saving the best for last, we were wondering whether we'd be able to get HD's big GSA over this tree. But we got the big girl over, and so we now had all the bikes over the tree, and it was just time for us to get up that snotty hill. The hill wasn't overly steep, but it was really loose and it was really rocky, and that made traction a problem and just keeping the line a real issue. But finally, we all sort of helped each other out, and we did manage to get all of the bikes up that snotty hill in the end. Only to hit a brand new shiny locked gate, and there was no getting around that. We had no option but to turn around, head back to Braidwood and ride back down the way we came, which meant lifting all the bikes back over that fallen tree trunk. So while the snotty hill didn't beat us, the lock gate did. But luckily we did have a plan B. We were going back to Braidwood, and then we were riding out the return leg to get back up onto the Dividing Range. But we had been riding for 2 hours, and we had done 67 kilometers, and we were now back to our starting point. So I was getting a little concerned that we wouldn't get to Cooma in time for daylight, and we'd be riding in the dark. The next obstacle we hit was one of the longest fords that I'd seen. It was about a 300-meter concrete ford, and the issue was the water was flowing. It was pretty deep, and it was flowing quite quickly. And when HD led the way in his GSA, I knew that the water wasn't going to budge him. But I was worried about some of the lighter bikes, especially if it had a mossy bottom. I was just worried that the fast-moving water could wash us off the side of the ford. But luckily we all managed to get across that ford without any dramas. Finally, it was time just to ride and have a bit of fun. And as we started riding the tracks, the trails were fantastic, and we all started sort of forgetting about just the dramas of the snotty hill and the fallen tree, and really just starting to enjoy ourselves exploring this beautiful track. There were some exciting little creek crossings that certainly kept us focused and concentrating on the task at hand.
Just give it some fun. Give it. Oh, dude, that's a shot. Oh, look at the style of it. Fucking Bronco.
Then we hit our next downed tree, and this was a mother of a tree. It was huge. There was no easy way around. We had to scout a track. We had to go back quite a long way. We had to scout a track back through the bush and around this huge tree.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, but you just have to just paddle it through, I think. It's not to the end here where it gets a little bit difficult.
And it took a little bit of sort of creative route planning, but we managed to find a route where we could get all of the bikes through and around that big tree.
You're clear all the way up here, and then there's a stop. Keep going.
After spending a bit of time getting around that first tree, we then hit another tree. And unfortunately, I think we hit like 3 or 4 more trees in pretty rapid succession. Each one, we managed to find a way around, but it wasn't easy. And often we're going through some pretty boggy ground or some pretty uneven ground, but we did manage to get around every one of those obstacles. The problem was we were burning a lot of time and we were also burning a lot of energy.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Finally, we seemed to get past the down trees, and we managed to do some fast riding along the fire trails. We still had plenty of kilometres to cover until we got to our pub lodging for the night, which is in Nimitabel, just south of Cooma. We stayed the night in the Federal Hotel in Nimitabel, which is just a classic little, small town country pub. And we were even entertained and treated to some Banjo Patterson poetry by one of the locals there, a guy called Tooth and Scarf. And it was fantastic, and he had us all mesmerised with his Banjo Patterson poetry.
See, we were green and we never had even a thought of foul play. Though we well might have known the clever division that put us away.
Just one of those classic little small town pub experiences. When we woke on day 2, we were all feeling a little sore and stiff. It had been a big day yesterday. So we decided that we weren't going to do the entire track. But we did a really nice run from Nimitel, and when we entered Badger State Forest, this was incredible riding. And Big Badger Hill, I'll feature that a bit later on, but oh my God, what a place. Dave showed us why he rides a GSA. He likes to prove that if he gets it bogged, he can get it out. Although, in this case, I think it was going to take a little help from his friends.
Yeah, nice line, HD. Nice line.
This will give you a good sense for what the riding was like in Big Badger State Forest. It was just wonderful. There was no down trees. The tracks were really flowy. The traction was just perfect. The scenery and the trees we were riding through were fantastic. It was just so much fun. And what you can't hear is what was coming out of my center, and that was the sound of HD in front of me on the GSA. And he was giggling like a 13-year-old girl out of pure joy. He was just having an absolute blast throwing that beamer around, and it was a joy to watch. When you're riding trails like this, it's kind of like all of the tough stuff from yesterday just goes right out of your mind, and it's worth it. This is kind of like just those moments you live for when you're adventure riding. Perfect trails, perfect scenery, just out with a bunch of guys and having an absolute blast. As we continued to climb, the views out the side just got better and better, and we knew we were getting close to Big Badger Mountain, which some of the locals had told us about, and we're looking forward to riding up there and just having a look. So Big Badger is actually about 300 meters just off to the left of the track. And to get up there, there's a steep little twin track which takes you right to the top. Big Badger Mountain was an incredible climax to a pretty adventure-filled weekend. But one thing I know for sure, there's a lot of tracks that we didn't get to ride, so I will definitely be back to finish this ride.